I kind of have a cool thing to share. As always, I'm never sure what it is I want to share when I go live, just because there's always a multitude of things I do want to share. But I want to talk about like speaking your truth, understanding your truth, and then really getting to a space where you start to uncover how you arrived at the truth. And I think that, Papa, sit down for a second. And I think that when we're looking at not just what's happening in the world in the last 14 days, but let's talk about it in an individual sense. And we talk about layers. You talk about so many layers of things that might show up as an energy block. I did this for one of my friends sometime last year. And when you think about getting to the root of a problem, getting into the root of how you are operating, getting into the root of all of you. So this is how I did this, and hopefully this makes sense. So say, for instance, let me kind of move this. My little tripod thing is a little broken, so I'm sorry. All right, so say this is you, right, in this little circle. And I'm going to make this blue, okay? Now, this is you. This is you when you were born. This is you coming into this world, not having any influence in this world, but perhaps bringing on whatever unchecked boxes of your karmic lessons and karma from past lives. So you're coming in essence, somewhat of a clean slate. Now, when you are coming into this world and then you're growing up, let's say between your date of birth into your 14th and 15 teenage years. Right here, you are encompassing all of mom and dad, traits, habits, beliefs, understanding, relationship with material things, spiritual things, compassion of heart, etc., etc. As you get older and you start to get into 15 to 35, it's covering big blocks of time. Yes, I understand. But you are also now dealing with friendships, relationships, your social influence, and things like that. So whatever you acquire from mom and dad, right? Now you got your feet wet, you're getting into the social understanding, reciprocity of all things that are around you. And then you start tackling this, right? Now you get to a space, let's say you're like 35, 40 years old, after you've kind of lived, maybe you made some mistakes, and then you get to a space where the new terminology around that is energy blocking. Well, what's blocking me? Like, why can't I actually make a breakthrough? Well, this is you, let's say, in the now. So you think about all the layers of things that could show up as a potential energy blocking for you in your now, where you need to kind of understand so you can have some clarity moving forward, some understanding in harmony of who you are, what kind of beliefs you have moving forward. And so sometimes people only want to look at these teenage years, maybe from 15 to 35. They're like, okay, life was good, blah, blah, blah. Like, I understand life. I know why and where certain things pop up. But sometimes I always encourage people, you got to go deeper. Because what was life like when you were in that newborn to 14, 15 age range, right? Because usually what happens is I've seen as young as, well, let's just say 4 or 5, when I've done readings, and I'm telling people, hey, this is what changed for you when you were 5 years old. And so now they're in this moment of self-reflecting and trying to figure out the pieces of what is happening or what did happen in this very small blip of time. Because why? Whatever isn't tended to, right? So let's just kind of put mom and dad in the pink circle. Whatever is intended to, some of those things show up in your now state of understanding of life, or now showing up as something that you need to tend to. So when we're looking at the layers of why we are, why we respond the way that we do, it's not just what you've gotten from friends. We know that sometimes it's mom and dad and it's our family and that's our immediate influence. But what was it about that exchange that is impeding upon the consciousness and the subconsciousness? And sometimes it is, let's say, hypothetically speaking, mom and dad didn't give you enough like love. They didn't hug you enough. They didn't say that they loved you enough. And oftentimes people say, well, I had a awesome childhood. I thought I got everything I wanted. I said yes, but what I'm picking up is the soul consciousness didn't get the fulfillment of how it felt it needed. It didn't get everything it needed. So you think of the difference of, I wouldn't even say the cup is half full, half empty. It's a thing of you have 1/4 part versus 3/4 part. It's like that extra that extra input that sometimes does come up. So let's take it back. So let's take it back to the beginning. This is you, right? Coming into this world, not having any influence yet from mom and dad. No beliefs acquired yet from mom and dad. You might have some things from a previous lifetime. Maybe it's impeding upon you. Maybe you get to it in this lifetime. Who knows? As you begin to grow, you start picking up the emotional responses, how mom and dad relate to each other, understanding of your voice matter. If you're trying to get your words out, or you shun, those type of things do pop up. So if you are carrying on, let's say, some sort of discourse in your energy bank, even when you are, well, let's just say as young as most people are aware. You get really aware when you really start to think about your past and your early childhoods around 3 or 4. So if something was off in your 3 or 4 age, hasn't been tended to, acknowledge, don't know it's there, then now you have, you take that with your social environment. That social environment, whatever discourse is there, is on top of mom and dad, whatever disconnection is there. Now you're like living life, and maybe let's say you're accomplished. Let's say, for instance, you're making $150,000 a year, whatever the case is, and then you find yourself stuck. And the internal reflection is going to help you have that greater breakthrough in life. Greater breakthrough in connection, understanding, paving way for maybe new ideas, new energy, new state of arrival, new correspondence with yourself and with the environment, and then you have better breakthroughs. The thing with a lot of people is they only want to go, let's say, one layer deep into what is in the subconscious bank. But if you allow yourself a gentle compassion of looking at all of you, then you will have a better state of harmony within. You'll have a better understanding of who you are, why you are, and you will feel fulfilled to the fullest capacity in order to move forward. So this is a great way to look at it. If you do decide to take that journey into kind of discovering your past, discovering what is there, if you feel like, you know what, I'm in this state of life right now, and I need to know how to have another breakthrough. I feel like I've done all that I can. Now I need to have another breakthrough. And I like to tell people to break your life down into increments of 10 years. So you say 0 to 10. Okay, cool. I'm going to kind of do a spiritual, internal review, like forensics, if you will. And you're kind of going through your own data bank. And if everything is good from 0 to 10, like, okay, cool. Well, where is that next block coming from? That next hiccup or restriction? Now you're going to look into that next decade. And you keep kind of scoping through and figuring out what pieces need to be tended to, or what pieces are not even there yet. More times than not, it's meditation, it's some sort of spiritual alignment, it's some sort of self-love, self-care that we need to look at, right? And it is always contingent upon how many layers deep are you willing to go, want to go for a certain type of breakthrough. People they love where they're at times. Maybe they feel fulfilled, and that's it. I do know this for sure. Information is infinite. Your ascension, your development is infinite. So pour into yourself and better awareness and understanding. So when you do have a hiccup, you'll have a better gauge. Hopefully this kind of puts some things into perspective. It's helped other people. So I think it's just dope. So I wanted to share. And then we can have better sovereignty, better inner alignment with ourselves. So when we are speaking our truth, we know that where we stand, we are the full fulfillment of who we need to be as a man, as a woman, as even a teenager, wherever you are in life. Stand firm in your internal belief and speak the truth of like who you are. And then always understanding, again, there's different levels of ascension. So if you're always in open mode, being authentic with yourself, and then authentically being a student of life, man, that shit is priceless. So that's it, guys. And I hope all of that made sense. We will have possibly another discussion about that and how that ties into karmic lessons and what that means and how we can start to really tend to some shit. Because in all of this, therein lies some lessons that need to be learned. And, I'll talk more about that tomorrow. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, guys, that's it.